this. All right, so good evening. My name is George Huynh, the Mayor's Liaison to Dorchester. Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm here to facilitate the statutorily required cannabis community outreach. This is an application by ZipRun for a cannabis warehouse delivery license to be operated at the address of 1170 Morrissey Boulevard, Dorchester, Mass. 02122. Before we start, I would like to go over my expectations for tonight's meeting. I know that this can be a sensitive topic, and I want to make clear that no decisions are being made tonight, and at no time will it be acceptable to be disrespectful to anyone during the meeting. Everyone is entitled to their opinion. There is no right or wrong opinion. We are here tonight to try to collect as many comments and questions for this proposal. I'm not here to facilitate debates amongst neighbors or relitigate state legislation. I ask that all questions be directed toward the applicant and myself only. The applicant will answer all questions related to their proposal to the best of their ability, and I will answer questions specific to the city's process. If I am unable or the applicants are unable to answer a question tonight, we will follow up with you after the meeting to get that information for you. This is an open comment period, meaning that if you do not get called on tonight, or if you think of questions that have not been answered, all you need to do is reach out to us, and we will work to get you that information. My contact info has been included on the flyer you received to attend this meeting. There will be no questions during the presentation, but once the presentation has concluded, I will again reiterate my expectations. To reiterate, this is not a debate on the legalization or morality of marijuana. That debate occurred at the ballot box, and we are here today because it was overwhelmingly supported in the city. The applicant will go through the presentation in a timely manner, and the remainder of the time will be for orderly question and answer, Q&A. Thank you again for taking the time to participate in tonight's meeting. I will now hand it over to the applicants for their presentation. So, without further ado, tonight we have with us Gabriel Vieira and Ellis. Not sure if I'm going to try to attempt that last name. Amoro, let me see. I can't read your whole name.
Alice Amore Godwin, it's fine. Alice Amore Godwin.
There we go.
Here we go.
All right, the floor is yours, guys.
Good evening. Thank you, George. Good evening, everybody. We're back again as we presented to you guys regarding the marijuana courier license. I believe that was back in March, if I stand corrected. Today, back with the same business. No, I can only see the 3 pin. Okay. Sorry, I was just reading off the comment. Just to start this off, ZipRun is the state-of-the-art e-commerce platform for both delivery and pickup for cannabis products. I'll be moving to the next slide to discuss the team. I myself am the CEO of the company, social equity member, previous experience working at Ernst & Young as a Big Four consultant. And then I also went to UMass Amherst, graduated from Eisenberg School of Management. And then in turn, I also grew up in the Dorchester community and went to St. Anne's up the street, now called Pope John Paul. Moving on down the list, we have Christian Nicholson, who's the chief operating officer. He went to BC as well. And then we have Ellis. I'll let him introduce himself.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ellis Amore Godwin. I grew up in the city of Boston, Hyde Park. I previously was a financial analyst at State Street, but currently I'm the Chief Growth Officer at ZipRun.
Moving forward from that, we have Michael Gordon, who went to BC. He's the Chief Technology Officer here at ZipRun. And then lastly, we brought on a Senior React Developer from TripAdvisor, Doug. Move on down the list. I'll present our mission and vision statement. Our mission at ZipRun is to employ, empower, and enlighten our local communities. We believe in making cannabis consumption more accessible and straightforward for everyone while shaping the delivery and pickup market together. In our vision statement, we aim to become a viable technology company that can compete with delivery and pickup services. Our vision is to support people from disproportionate areas in Massachusetts and beyond to prevent the continuation of inequitable status quo by teaching the importance of ownership, while providing job opportunities within a wide variety of fields and career paths. Before I dig into too much detail, I wanted to give everyone a quick overview of what we're looking to use or to get out of 1170 Morrissey Boulevard. I will repeat, this is not a retail or cultivation site at 1170. Product is only being delivered from our warehouse. All vehicles will access 1170 underneath the bridge to and from the site. Therefore, we don't impact traffic on the one-way streets. That being said, we will not be using those streets for our drivers. In addition, we do not have customers that park at our location because we aren't a retail or cultivation facility. In turn, we have about 10 vehicles that will be used to deliver a product, and our drivers will go back and forth from the site on a 2-hour basis, once again, impacting traffic the least as we possibly can, and our hours of operations will be from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. To move forward from that, we won't have any odor. All products will be sealed in containers when delivered to our property, so there will be no trace of marijuana or cannabis on the property, or the scent of cannabis on property. When it comes to lighting, any additional lighting, if needed, that is required, we will be providing dark sky type fixtures, meaning the illumination will not be directed downwards, so there will be no city lighting effect. And then in addition, the illumination will not spread beyond the property. For security reasons, we have a clear understanding of the importance of security at this facility. Our security consultant is Clint Wine of Wine Associates. Clint has been in the security business since 1989. Has been involved in cannabis security since 2006, when he helped develop the medical marijuana security protocols for the Rhode Island Department of Health. Since then, he has helped design and install over 50 marijuana cultivation facilities, manufacturing facilities, and dispensary facilities across the U.S. In turn, his firm will make sure to review all policies, procedures for security matters, and will design and manage the installation of our electronic security systems required by the Cannabis Control Commission. This design will include video surveillance, intrusion alarms, panic alarms, access control systems that will all meet or exceed the CCC's regulations. And then lastly, the design is obviously confidential, so it will be reviewed and approved by the Boston Police Department to ensure compliance and that all security requirements are met. And if you would like to reach out or learn more about our security measures, please feel free to reach out to the Boston Police Department to ensure that we are compliant. And then lastly, as you probably noticed, there are billboards on the property. We have no intention of using them. We don't have control over them. And then in addition, currently constructed, the billboards aren't even functional at this time. Below, we'll discuss the community support, what we're willing to, how we're willing to give back to the community, especially the community that I grew up in, went to St. Anne's down the street, and I'll let Ellis expound upon that.
Thank you, Gabe. Here at ZipRun, we really care about using our business to empower and employ our local communities. The way we're going to go about that is reducing barriers. So one plan we do have is 25% of the people who will be employed by ZipRun will be from disenfranchised communities, because these communities deserve the opportunity to get within the rising legal cannabis market due to the war on drugs and marijuana prohibition, which negatively impacted these communities. Also here at ZipRun, we're going to be providing scholarships to individuals who grew up in Suffolk County, because it's very important to invest into the future of the youth that are growing up in these communities to empower them as much as we can. Also, we're going to be providing mentoring, professional, technical services to individuals who have interest into the cannabis industry, so they can also build a company within the cannabis industry like I and Gabe has done with ZipRun. Also, we're going to partner with local organizations that have the same initiatives and the same will to empower local communities by providing donations to these organizations. Also, we're going to support a lot of nonprofit organizations that also have these same initiatives to make sure that here at ZipRun, we're not only impacting our local communities, but also making sure that we keep intact, that our business plan goes in line with everyone's best interest. And then finally, we're going to bring Morrissey Boulevard back to life. The location that we've been at has been abandoned. It has been used, so it's good for us to use this opportunity to use our business plans to actually use this area to impact our local communities.
And to quickly expound upon that, at the end of the day, what we're trying to do here, we're definitely interested in giving back to the community in multiple ways. With that being said, we're willing to take suggestions, willing to work with the community, because that's what it's really all about. We want to make sure we have the community's best interests at all times, along with our business interests as well. So we will definitely try our best and do our best to be aligned as much as we possibly can. To move forward with that, our security plan for our vehicles, as we spoke about a couple of months ago, our vehicles will be equipped with cameras and also product safes in the back. The systems include GPS hardware and monitoring devices, 4 cameras in the vehicle, and then 2 employees in the vehicle at all times. All of our vehicles will have no external markings or symbols that include marijuana delivery, just so we stay out the public's eye when delivering our product. And then, last but not least, the CCC will inspect all vehicles before we commence operations, which is what we're currently going through with the provisional license for the marijuana courier license. To move forward with that security plan for the warehouse, as I detailed earlier, we do not affect traffic whatsoever. We are not a retail, so consumers do not park at our location to pick up products. We only will have drivers and staff working in our facility at all times. You're talking about 10 vehicles, probably 10 staff inside as well. So we're trying to limit that as much as we possibly can to affect traffic as least as possible. But as I stated earlier in the call, we're going to have all of our drivers receive access to the building by going under the bridge to get to our warehouse. In turn, we'll also have high security vault doors and interior electronic security. By adding this, we'll just optimize the safety of our staff, the community, and then product protection as well. Also, we'll have 24/7 camera surveillance that will be backed by a generator to ensure that if there is a power outage at all, we will be backed up by always having our cameras monitor the area at all times. And then lastly, we are hiring experienced civil engineers, builders, and architects who have been working within the cannabis industry 10 plus years. They have built 50 plus cannabis facilities. So we're definitely putting our best foot forward when it comes to creating the best warehouse for cannabis delivery in Boston. And then I would say lastly, our discrete operations. So with that being said, we're going to provide very little visibility around the property. We're going to make sure we put high tech security to ensure that we keep the safety of our staff and the community at all times. Moving forward from that, we have our prevention protocol. So for driver protocol, as I mentioned earlier, all vehicles do not have markings or signs on them that suggest we hold cannabis products. Once again, we do not store cash. All we do is we take in payment via our online platform, ziprun.com. Feel free, if you guys are very interested to see what we built thus far, you can type in ziprun.com in the browser, and you'll see the platform that we created. And in turn, our drivers are always instructed to be in constant contact with Ziprun on an every 30-minute basis to ensure that they are safe when delivering product. To move forward from that, we have our warehouse protocol, prevention protocols as well. As you know, we're putting a facility we're putting in a very high-tech security plan in place to ensure that safety is always top of mind. And then moving forward from that, route optimization integration. So we integrated with a company called OnFleet, which allows us to change the routes of our drivers when they're out doing delivery, so that our routes cannot be studied. So potential crime, so we can pretty much prevent potential crime from happening. And then that's pretty much the end of it all. The point being, I wanted to keep the presentation short and sweet so that the community can definitely be heard about what we have to offer. And you can contact me currently at Ziprun, Gabe at ziprun.com. Definitely feel free to reach out. I'm definitely willing to get on a call if need be, and we'll go from there. Thank you guys so much for hearing us out today, and I'm looking forward to your feedback.
Awesome. Thanks, Mr. Vieira, Mr. Amora. So I'm going to promote everybody to, just out of transparency, because I've assigned everybody privileges, but I guess it's not working. I'm just going to make everybody a panelist so that we can see each other, so everybody can sort of know who's in the room here.
George, would you like for me to still present? Because I definitely can if need be.
If folks have questions related to your deck or anything, you can do that. But we can pause on that right now. No problem.
Great, thank you.
Yep.
I believe I see some familiar names
Alrighty.
from last meetings.
Yes, John. Yeah. So if you have a question, you can raise your hand. It's a fairly manageable room tonight. So yeah. So John, I'm gonna ask that you unmute yourself. You can do that yourself, I think.
Good evening.
Hi, John.
Good evening, John.
My name is John Lyons. I live on Walnut Street. I'm also the president of the Port Norfolk Civic Association. I'm wondering, can you clarify what is the purpose of this meeting this evening? Is this an abutters meeting or a public meeting?
I believe they're the same. It's just about
If you
300
do you
feet.
have any intention of coming and presenting to the Civic Association essentially the same presentation so that we can, I think, do a better job of getting the word out to the public and get more participation from the community at large? Would you be willing to do that?
John, I definitely would, as I stated last time in our meeting in March. Definitely want to be in tied into the community as much as possible. So if given the opportunity, I definitely can make that happen.
Do you have a ZBA date yet?
No, I do not.
What has changed from March until now? Is it just the addition of the product storage and direct sales to consumers?
Correct. Yeah, we're not affecting traffic, no retail, no cultivation. You are absolutely correct.
Well, traffic's not part of the application, but what's to say, what is the reason you need a variance? Can you explain that?
Repeat that. Sorry about that.
What is the reason that you need a variance?
The reason we need a variance or to go through this process again is because this is a different license type. At the time when we spoke in March, I believe there was only a courier license type that was given out to CCC members. Now that the warehouse license has become official as of mid-July, we have to go through this community process once again, which I believe is definitely necessary, just to let the community know what we're planning to present and what we're planning to move forward with if we receive an HCA for this location.
Do you plan at any point to attempt to add retail?
That is not my plan at all.
Would
As you probably go ahead.
agree, not saying I'm for this or against it at this point, but looking downstream, would you agree to an enforceable agreement not to ever put retail in that location?
You have my word. I will sign an agreement tonight.
Well, that's a good start. My biggest question, I too went to St. Anne's and Boston College, and I've lived in this area to my life. I'm familiar with that particular location. I can tell you it's got to be one of the worst traffic bottlenecks in Massachusetts. There was a prior application for a retail marijuana establishment, and the biggest opposition came from Department of Transportation and the Mass State Police. And I know you're saying that all of your vehicles are going to enter underneath the bridge, but is there going to be any way to exit or enter that property from any other abutting street, or are you going to limit it to the Napontet Ave adjacent to the bridge?
Yeah, under our security protocols, we're going to limit it to underneath the bridge to ensure we don't affect the traffic on the one-way street coming up to 1170 Morrissey Boulevard. We understand that's a big issue for the community, and we definitely don't want to obstruct traffic.
I'm not trying to saddle you or your business with the problems that exist over there now, that an awful lot of people have learned that they can avoid a lot of the traffic on Morrissey and the expressway by cutting through that section of Port Norfolk and eventually exiting by Tinian Beach. That's the primary concern of the abutters there. It's not in opposition to marijuana per se, cannabis per se. It's any business that will result in additional vehicle trips or will attract customers, which is why I asked you the question about the retail. But there are other reasons why we're opposed to retail on that site. But if that's not part of your deal, then I won't go there.
Yeah, that's definitely not part of our deal. We're just a delivery company. Kind of, are you guys familiar with GoPuff warehouse for like food delivery?
Yeah.
Started in Philly. That's essentially what we're planning to do for the cannabis business here in Boston. As of right now, we're the only ones that are currently applying for the warehouse opportunity. But with that being said, we can definitely work with the community to make sure we don't obstruct traffic as much as possible, and definitely willing to listen. I believe, John, if you're still speaking, but if not, I believe there's another woman that also has her hand up.
Now, one more question I want to ask you, and then I'll tell you, Gabe. I'll reach out to you directly
Perfect.
and get you on the agenda next month if you want to come.
Oh, for sure, for sure.
Right. We meet on the third Tuesday of the month, and I'll send you an email. My last question, and I won't say anything further after this, but I just struggle to understand why a storage and delivery business would locate in such a high profile, presumably expensive location where I think you will find at significant portions of the day in the evening, it's virtually impossible to get out of that site. I mean, it's gridlocked. It backs up halfway over the bridge. I've seen it back up all the way to Quincy Shore Drive in the mornings. And I go to Quincy most mornings and see it myself.
Understood, yeah.
I'm not sure it's such a good business move to locate there, but that's your business. But it leads me to wonder once again what the ultimate business plan is here. And I see you raise significant private equity money, and I don't know why you need to grow like that to simply offer a delivery business. But maybe you can explain when you come to see us in October.
Yeah. So the biggest thing is the warehouse build out and the security measures to make sure that we're up to par with the Cannabis Control Commission. They're very keen on the regulations that are in place for security. So that's really where a lot of the money is going to go on towards. Obviously, we're going to fix up the building as well, so to make it more aesthetically pleasing. That also goes into it. But yeah, there's an edge. You probably may or may not know the average cost to put up a dispensary. We're not putting up a dispensary, but just to give you just to shed some light, in the city of Boston has cost people like $1 million to $1.5 million, and then on top of that, marketing money and potential other things, and obviously for this courier business, right? Not to get into too much detail, but we raised $2.3 million. We have a tech platform, so that's one thing. We need to hire engineers, so a big portion of our raise goes to engineers that we're hiring. As you know, engineers can be very expensive. Two, we have the warehouse build out, and then also, since we can't contract drivers, we actually have to purchase our vehicles ourselves. So that can be super pricey as well. But in turn, it actually works out better for drivers now that they're employed by Zipper, rather than the DoorDash or Uber Eats model where, one can say they don't get treated as fairly because they're just contractors. So in this case, they're employees of our company, which is fantastic for us, right? And then secondly, it really gives the drivers confidence that we truly believe in their value in our business. So as you can see, the $2.3 million that was raised was definitely well needed to support all three of our business models. Just not one stop. I would completely understand, right, if you were asking why'd you raise $2.3 million just for a warehouse delivery model. Completely understand that, right? But from a from a 3 business model perspective, that's the reason why we raised as much money as we did.
Okay, well, thank you.
Of
I'll
course.
mute myself again, and you can go on to other participants. Thank you.
Thank you, John.
Yeah.
Can I don't know how this works. Can I be heard or no?
Yes, of course. Of course.
George, I don't know how this goes. Can I say something or I have to wait?
Yeah. I'm just gonna read the comments in the chat before you go, Denise, if that's okay.
Okay.
So Mary asked, when you say warehouse, are you adding buildings or structures?
No, not to the outskirts of the building. We are just adding security measures inside of the building to ensure that it is up to code for the CCC regulations.
Awesome. Just gonna read a couple more comments. C. Murfeld to everyone. I appreciate your use of sophisticated technology to keep your drivers and cars safe while they're delivering, but their starting and ending point is always the same, our neighborhood. And your commitment to using only the under-the-bridge road makes their path predictable and may undermine those security measures. So it's just a comment. You can address it along with this question here. Will the number of vehicles from Mary? Will the number of vehicles increase from 10 at some point in the future?
As of right now, I'll answer that one first. As of right now, we haven't even thought about expanding past 10 because, like I was saying, every vehicle that we purchase is super pricey, so we can't go over a certain budget right now. So we're kind of limiting ourselves to 10 vehicles. And then to answer the point regarding the same pathway, the endpoint that we're coming into, we're the same path regarding the way we enter is the way the way we exit is the way we enter. Completely understand that. With the technology, we'll definitely do our best to make sure we randomize our routes. That's the entire goal of it. And then the other thing is we don't have marking on the vehicle. I would completely understand if we had marking on the vehicle and then also use the same routes. But at the end of the day, we can work together to ensure that we have the most efficient and safe protocol in place to make sure our drivers are always at interest of ours from a safety perspective.
Awesome. Thanks, Gabe. All right, so we're going to go to Denise and then Maria. Lyons.
So, George, I sent you an email earlier in the event I couldn't jump into this meeting. And it's actually similar to an email that I sent to the governor several months ago. So where I'm sitting right now, I'm looking at Sozios. That's where I live. I'm literally looking at it from. So I'm at the corner of Walnut and Oakman. And I think anybody who lives around here can agree with me. It is an absolute roll of the dice. Take your life in your hands, getting out of here every single day, no matter what time of the day it is, which is one of the reasons why I sent the email to the governor, that this is the death rotary here, that I hear every day. I'm like this every night, middle of the night, someone's going to crash. Okay, so that being said, Oakman should not be a two-way street, and yet it is. So you've got Oakman. Then you've got the access that you're saying that's going to be going under the bridge. Well, a couple of things. Oakman needs to be made a one-way, and if it's not, there is just no way. Anybody who knows this area knows that they can come in by like they're going to Venezia, they can go in like they're coming to Tinian Beach, and they can come in right here to Walnut and swing around. It's what the people from Planet Fitness do. It's what the people from the other company back there do. And I get what you're doing. I respect anybody who wants to put a business there, but I've been a real estate paralegal for both residential and commercial real estate. And what somebody wants to do as opposed to what they can do can be two different things. And the port is cut off from the rest of Dorchester. So it's not like we have a lot more options than, say, if we were over in Adams Corner or Lower Mills or whatever. It's you kind of can't, it's like one or two ways in and one or two ways out, and that's it. And there's a tremendous amount of traffic just in this loop alone because of the businesses that are here and because people are cutting through to avoid Neponset, what have you. So, my concern is that is there anybody that's going to say, well, we're just going to have them use the bridge going in there and not say, well, wait a minute, we have to address Walnut Street, we have to address Oakman, and then I think down here might be Tyler, I think, because of where you're located. You're like plop in the middle, and there's a lot. And just like the previous person said, that's the reason why I wrote the letter to Baker. I said, this is just unbelievable. The traffic here, it's a horrible rotary. I'm a seasoned Boston driver. I cycle all over the city, and there's just nothing to allow us to get in and out of here safely or to be around here safely. There's a group home 2 doors down from me. I am always yelling at people flying down this street because, these people, haram, they're in a group home for a reason. Sometimes they're not always walking on the sidewalk. Do you know what I mean? They're out and about in the neighborhood, even though there's not a lot of kids in this area. So that's the thing that I would be pushing for, which I think probably a lot of people are here, is that where's the guarantee that it's like you come in this way and you leave this way, and the addition for the traffic. I mean, it's not a store. My understanding is not a store. You guys are a warehouse.
Correct. Yep. Warehouse strictly.
Delivering to how many stores?
Oh, we don't deliver to stores. We deliver to consumers. But to your point, we're not going to start with 10 vehicles. We're probably going to start with 2, to be completely honest with you. But as of right now, our plan is to have 10 vehicles that are on the 2-hour delivery window. So, for
Oh,
example,
you mean you guys are going to be like a DoorDash type of thing, delivering pot to people? Oh, what am I missing here?
Yeah, correct. Yeah. So there's 2 models. There's the marijuana courier model, which is, we're not having a conversation about that one, but we're talking about the warehouse delivery model where we're delivering cannabis to consumers. With that being said, I understand your traffic concerns around, like, I would say especially from like 2 to like 4 p.m., 5-ish, when the
Oh no,
traffic is
it's
heavy.
24 hours a day. I guarantee you.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
no,
yeah.
so then that leads me to my next one. I'm sorry to drone on and on.
Oh,
Have
no
you or
worries.
anybody else that you're doing business with literally come here with your car and sit there, and I want you to sit for like 2 hours and just
100%.
watch the traffic patterns, just so you can get an idea. You don't live here, we live here. You know what I mean? To see
True,
that. And then
true.
my other one is, you didn't buy it, isn't that you're sublet, you're renting that property,
Yeah,
correct?
we're renting the property, correct.
From Feeney Utilities, they're the ones that bought it. Feeney Brothers,
They're part of the ownership,
right,
correct.
right. So do they have any restrictions that you guys have
Restrictions.
to follow? Well, they obviously know
Uh,
what you're doing.
yeah, so they, in terms of restrictions, the only one that would be restricted would be our company in terms of how we finalize our security and delivery plan. So as long as we present a really good delivery plan and we follow by the script, the Cannabis Control Commission, along with the Boston Cannabis Board, would approve of what we have going on, as long as we stick to the script. Because the biggest thing is, with the CCC and the BCB, if you don't follow by the rulings that you said you would, you're
Oh no, I'm sure
gonna
they're all over
see
you.
violations. Of
Yeah.
course. So with that being said, we definitely want to be as careful as possible. Like I said, obviously I don't live in the neighborhood, but I went to school right up the street. And when I was younger, I used to walk all the way down there and just walk
Right.
around, and actually out for Little League baseball games right at the light where the rotary is. I would
Hmm.
flyer for sponsorships for our little league games for
Yeah.
baseball. So with that being said, I'm super familiar with the area.
Well, I mean,
But
you're still a kid, but I will
yeah,
say this. I
yeah,
recommend people coming
yeah.
and sitting here. And like I said, I'm
Oh,
going to write the governor again and say somebody has to come here and sit here. And then my last question is, do you have something in place where a lot of people are going to think, oh, pot store, I'm going down there, and not realize it's not a retail store?
yeah. So the biggest thing for us is we're not going to have cannabis plastered along our building, because one, we have a warehouse, so we definitely don't want to advertise people just randomly walking along the street and saying, hey, I want to break into that facility because
Mhm.
they have cannabis in there. So for us, we're going to be as discreet as possible. We're honestly trying to disguise ourselves within the community.
No,
We're
I
just gonna,
understand that.
yeah.
And you're taking that whole space,
The
that
whole
whole
space,
space.
Yeah, the whole space, the whole
That's a big
space.
space. If you're only up
Yeah,
to, I mean, it's a big space.
from a business perspective, it's fantastic. Like I often go over there at least 3, 4 times a week just to sit upstairs and just like you said, watch the traffic because I think it's interesting just to understand
My
how
house
our
is across the way
operations.
with the Christmas lights going up and down the stairs. You
So
can't miss it.
next
And
time I'll just wave hello. You'll see me in there. You can't miss me,
well,
right?
I've
I'm
seen
just
people coming and going, so I knew
yeah,
something was coming up. But like I
yeah,
said, I think for everybody, the big thing is just more traffic coming through these streets that can barely handle what's going on and the safety for people coming in and out of the neighborhood.
completely
So thank you.
understood.
Thank you, everybody, for letting me talk and talk. So
Of course, of course. Don't want to let me talk. I'll talk forever. So I appreciate it. Thank you.
thank you.
Of
Thanks,
course,
Denise.
anytime.
All right. So I'm gonna have Maria Lyons go, and then I'm gonna read some more comments in the chat.
George, can I ask 2 questions and then you come back to me? I have a few comments.
Sounds good.
Okay. My first question, you keep talking about security in the cars and security in the building. Will the security guards and the people in the cars have weapons? And my
No,
second question is the delivery to houses only? We are next to a lot of parks and we don't want any deliveries to people in parks.
nope. So the first question, we are not allowed to have weapons in the vehicle whatsoever. And to answer your second question, by CCC regulations, we are only allowed delivered to homes. We're not allowed to deliver to hotels, parks. The address that's on your actual license is the only address we can actually deliver to. So the CCC has done a good job of being strict on where we can actually deliver to.
And the security guards in the building, will they have weapons?
No, not at all. They're not allowed to.
Okay. All right. So my comments are, similar to what other people have commented already, but the Ponset Circle is sort of in the center of the park system that's built up in this area. And we've worked for years to make those parks more beautiful. And you said it yourself, as a kid, I used to teach at St. Anne's School, by the way, but I
Did
left in 2000. So I don't know if you were still there or not. You must have been little.
you left in 2000? I was there. So I was there. Let's see. I was born in 1995. So I started first grade there.
You were
So
little then, yeah.
I
Yeah.
was I was that was tiny. So my memory's pretty faint back
No,
back
you
in
wouldn't.
the day, but
But anyway, you keep talking about the kids in the neighborhood, and the kids in the neighborhood are certainly a concern for us too. It is a
of course.
neighborhood with these beautiful parks surrounding it, and you say you're going to hide it, but everybody will know it's there. We try to, we were hoping that the building would be torn down and something nice would be built there, something more appropriate. I know you say you're going to fix it up, but there's only so much lipstick you can put on a pig. Plus that billboard is just the ugliest billboard going. So I don't know if you can get the Feeney brothers to tear that down because it's really an eyesore. So that it's just disappointing that something better isn't coming in. Not that I'm saying digging your business, but something that would look a lot nicer and maybe be more appropriate. So my other concern, like other people have said, is it just seems odd that you would spend that much money for a warehouse in probably a high-priced area when you could go to probably many places that are less costly for a warehouse. Now, I know you said that you will not become retail, but we've had promises like that before that somehow were able to get changed as the years went on. So I don't know. I believe you, but perhaps you'll sell the business and somebody new will come in and they'll apply for the license to sell retail there. So it's just worrisome to us that it might grow into that, especially in that very visible area and in, near the parks. We don't want to increase. This is legal. I know it's legal, but it is illegal to smoke in the parks. So
Correct.
we wouldn't want that to increase around the area. So that still is a concern, even with your saying that you won't do that because things can change. So that's another concern. Hold on, there's something else I wanted to say, and
No worries. Keep going. We're here to
okay.
listen
Oh,
to you.
all right. Then my last comment. the marijuana, you have to be 21. Is that correct, Wyatt?
Correct.
Correct. So as a teacher, I do feel it's a little inappropriate, the marijuana business, to be giving college scholarships. I know that's kind of mean. It's like anybody should give college scholarships who can, but I just feel it's a little inappropriate
You have to be above
because marijuana can dull teenagers' brains. We know that. So giving scholarships is sort of like promoting marijuana to the kids who get the scholarships and to other kids. So I think it might be a little inappropriate.
Okay, definitely will take that to heart. But our original goal was to give it to students that were, 21 plus. Obviously, majority of the time lived off of campus wherever they attended. But definitely, we'll take that comment. But in addition, with that being said, if we don't, let's just say we didn't move forward with that, and we took your comment to heart, we would definitely find another way of promoting and giving opportunities, or even business scholarships or something along those business grants to people that are starting cannabis companies, or honestly anything else, because our biggest thing is about supporting the community as much as we possibly can and however we can. So once again, I'll just say thank you for your questions and concerns and comments as well.
Yeah, I just think, anything that involves children, having a marijuana company sponsoring them is inappropriate.
Thank you.
It would be like cigarette companies doing it. It's inappropriate.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Maria.
I think Denise has one more question.
Okay.
George, quickly, with regards to that billboard over there, I met the former owner's wife when they were closing it down. I went over to get flower pots from them, so we were chatting. If that billboard, the only reason that was the only thing they could put on it was socio per that city of Boston regulations. If it's your business, you can put that billboard, has to be related to your business. Do you know if the billboard's coming down? You're not going to be, I doubt if you're going to be putting that big billboard with your name on it.
No way, because then someone would figure out what we're doing.
So do you know if they're taking it down or?
No clue. I know the billboard is not functional right now. So that would be the landlord's decision.
Okay, yeah, because any new billboards now, the city wants them to be the electronic ones, which is even worse. But okay, thank you.
Of course.
All right, thanks, Denise. All right, so I'm gonna read questions and comments in the chat, and then we'll go to caller 617-898. So from Mary McCarthy, is the owner of the property on this call? I'm not sure who that is, so. All right, we're gonna move on for now. From C. Murfeld to everyone. My concerns are around the security and enforcement for the neighborhood. This neighborhood already has issues with adjacent businesses not maintaining their properties and attracting people who do illicit and illegal activities in the neighborhood without sufficient enforcement, whether it's overnight camping, fireworks, noisy late night gatherings, inappropriate food and human waste disposal. Little is being done to curb these issues. What is Zip Run's plan and commitment to ameliorate these issues on and around the property?
So to directly answer that, to make sure that we kind of disallow overnight camping, fireworks, noisy late gatherings, we're willing to work with the community to come up with a plan to stop that from happening. Definitely didn't know too much about that prior to coming into this meeting, but for sure, definitely can meet up with a couple of the community members and talk about how we can put our brains together to make sure that we keep the community's essence, aesthetic, up, and to keep its importance, above everything else at all costs. So definitely willing to work with the community. But from a business perspective, we can do our best to secure our building. I mean, that's one way we can stop people from getting into our premises, from doing things of that nature. But the surrounding areas, like I said, we can work with the community to make something happen for the better.
Thanks, Gabe.
That issue that she was just talking about, we've had situations. My neighbor and I have gone over there. It's I can't think of the name of the company or the contractor company. They own Planet Fitness and they own that property behind them. I've had to call the cops several times. Parties back there, trash and everything. That's them. And we've complained several times to them about people who go to Planet Fitness and fly through this neighborhood, the trash, and the people who go back into that deep parking lot and they're partying back there and all that. So I understand what that person is saying, but it's definitely on them. There's no doubt about it.
Okay. Thank you for letting me know that.
All right, so I'm just going to read these comments quickly since they had to do with the last couple comments. From Merlene Montpremier to everyone, agreed, Maria, it is inappropriate. And most students graduate college at 21 or 22. From John, you could direct contributions through a separate private foundation with an unrelated name. Billboard is a quote-unquote premises sign, which can only advertise a business on premises. And lastly, from Merlene, so I do not understand how these students would receive a scholarship if they are most likely done with school. Right. So I'm going to call on caller 617-898. They've had their hand raised for a while now. *6 to unmute.
Good evening. I believe I'm the caller you're referencing.
Yes.
898. My name is Cheryl. I am a resident and owner in the Port Norfolk area. I live less than a mile from the site. And some of my concerns have been addressed. Some of my comments would be if the billboard can only advertise what the business is and the business is no longer socio, I would say that the billboard needs to come down. I'd say that's probably something that falls with the city, given that the current owners are not socio. So it's kind of a different matter than what we're here for tonight. I have a few questions regarding the vehicles. What type and size vehicles are we talking? Are we talking cars? We talking trucks, vans?
Cars. So like you're talking like a Nissan Sentra or a Kicks, something that kind of fits in with the everyday commuter.
Okay. So given they will be, discrete on the property and you're delivering to individuals at individual addresses, as you said, delivered to the license, the address on the actual license of the person doing the ordering. So, some people are straight in what they do and some people are corrupt in what they do. So it wouldn't be hard for an individual to follow, your vehicles to see where they go and figure out what's happening. So that's a comment. You did mention that you'd probably only be starting out with a couple of vehicles, although that you plan to have 10 vehicles, 10 drivers. I believe at the beginning I heard you say that there'd be 2 people in each vehicle. I imagine that's for security purposes.
Correct.
But you'd only have 10 vehicles parked and 10 staff on site. So if you have 10 cars and 2 people in a car, that's 20 people. So those
Correct.
people,
Yeah,
the majority of them would be driving to your location to then get in their cars.
So what
You
we're
would
gonna
have more than 10 vehicles.
Yeah, so how we're going about hiring individuals, we're hiring individuals like pretty much in a pair. As you know, there's 2 drivers in a vehicle, so we're either gonna have our drivers carpool Or the best scenario is we're thinking about potentially paying for their transportation there and back via commuter rail, Uber, or something along those lines. So we definitely don't want to increase the traffic in the neighborhood. So to your point, thank you for bringing that up. We're doing everything we can to stop vehicles from constantly driving into the neighborhood at any time of the day. Because as you know, that Neponset Circle, and the Ponset Circle traffic can be a headache. So just trying to diminish that as much as possible.
It is a headache and it is a challenge. Like I said, given I'm a owner and a resident here, and there's many other projects that the city is aware of taking place just on Morrissey Boulevard in itself, which is technically the address of the building that we're talking about. So when you talk about community and neighborhood, I don't know if you want to define that. Are you talking just Port Norfolk, Dorchester, Neponset Circle?
Port Norfolk. Those are the people that we are technically, quote unquote, impacting. The butters of a property. Those are the most important people to us, honestly. Your opinions matter the most. So definitely Port Norfolk individuals.
So we'll also impact people coming over that bridge. I mean, I know you said the hours of operation were 10 to 8, so we're not talking morning commute, you know, which is an issue. And given the pandemic, many people's schedules and, you know, commutes are changing in various different ways. But, you know, it's not the first time that our neighborhoods get impacted from something with Quincy. You know, we talk about lighting and stuff like that. So for those of us that are overlooking the water, you know, we have Boston Scientific and bright lights 24 hours a day. So it does also impact, you know, the Quincy area for people coming from the Quincy area into the Neponset Circle area. So at this time, those are my comments. I can, you know, agree with some of the other people as far as what it might start at and what it might become. Those are significant concerns. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Cheryl.
George, I believe you have some new comments.
Yes, I see them. I'm going to read them before we go to Mary McCarthy. So C. Murfeld, how is the warehouse receiving warehouse replenishments?
Yep, so that is part of, go ahead. Oh yeah, so that's a part of the plan. From a security perspective, that's confidential because of security reasons. But if you do have any questions regarding that, our plans are going to be approved by the city of the Boston Police Department. So feel free to reach out to them if you have any questions regarding our compliance with security. From replenishment from the outskirts, definitely not going to have any cannabis, you know, markings along the walls, but we're definitely going to fix up as much as we possibly can. But the rail design really comes from inside the building, where we're going to uplift it and definitely make it look new as much as we possibly can.
Awesome. Let's see. Well, from Merlene. Also, there is a large mice and rat infestation in Port Norfolk. For the fact the building has been abandoned for so long, we know there are many rodents in that building. From Mary, will there be enough parking for employees on your site? They won't be parking on neighboring streets, correct?
No parking on neighboring streets, as you guys can see. There's plenty of parking on spot, on location. So definitely, if need be, our employees can park there. We're not parking on the street at all.
Okay.
And yes, there was another. You can keep going with questions.
Yeah.
And then, the rat rodent question. I've been in the property. I go there a couple times a week. Maybe I'm lucky enough to not see rat and rodents, but obviously, if that becomes a problem, we'll fix that to our best ability. But I hope. Please don't jinx me. I hope when I walk into the property tomorrow, I don't see a big fat rat in my way. That wouldn't be too pleasant. So I hope you didn't jinx me.
All right, yeah, that ties into that question from Marlene. What measures have you or will you take in preventing these rodents from running into our homes? And for more comments from her, we see mice every single night for years now, rats as well. All right.
Yeah, we'll definitely make sure we hire, a rat mouse company to make sure that that doesn't happen. Not too familiar with rat and mouse problems, but we definitely can call someone to make sure that doesn't take place, or we at least prevent it to the best of our ability.
So I'm going to go to Mary McCarthy first before I read that question from Maria Lyons. Oh, two questions from her. So Mary, you can go ahead.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yep.
I find it disrespectful for the owner of the building. Gabriel, you're very well spoken and you're confident in your business, and I appreciate that. I don't know. I think others on the call probably do as well. I find it a little hard to believe that this is going to be secluded, that people aren't going to know what it is, because we've got at least 15 people that aren't involved in your business per se, that this is a public meeting, so it's out what's going there. I don't know. I don't know where you want to St. Anne, so I'm sure you understand how the wire works.
Right.
So I think it will be out there what this business is. I'm upset with the owner that this is what he thinks should go there. Not so much you. You're just a business owner that's trying to get a business up and running, and I can appreciate that, but I just don't want this particular business in my community. I think it's going to bring things that I don't want here. Crime, uh, uh, traffic is just something that's I think almost always going to be out there. They're building housing all the time. So that's just going to bring you up. A lot of people are taking bikes, but they're always going to use a car. So that's always going to be. So I think you're very, St. Anne's has produced a good product in you. You're very well spoken, and I do appreciate you being so honest and great with this. But I'm upset with the owner of the building that he hasn't come to the neighborhood at all to say what he wants to do with the building. I don't know. I think it's disingenuous on his part for not presenting himself to us. Not so much you, but so and I agree with just about everybody's concerns that have spoken, Maria. Denise, I don't think we've met, but I like you more every time you opened your mouth there. You were saying exactly what we all feel. We love Port Norfolk. That's why we live here. We love being by the water. Our parks are beautiful. It took a long time for them to come. And we're just, I hope I think you can probably feel that we have that in our heart. And we just want if something's going to come here, we want it to be the best, that's well suited for this neighborhood. And thank you for your honesty for this. And George, thanks for conducting the meeting. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary.
All right. I'm going to read some more comments, or a couple questions here from Maria. Why do you want to locate in Port Norfolk? There are many warehouse areas in Hyde Park. And so you can take that one on first.
Honestly, the ability to get right to the highway is fantastic. Completely honest. And then two, saw the building as an opportunity. Thought it would be great. Honestly, there aren't many warehouses with plenty of parking, let alone even like 5 to 10 spaces that come with the building. So the fact that we have a ton of space, one thing eventually, like I was talking about with the community support, we can definitely hold an event there for the community. Toys for Tots, drives such as that nature, just to really show our support. But with that being said, yeah, just perfect location. Doesn't really go past that. And in any community that we settle in, definitely willing to support the community as best as we possibly can.
Right. Also for Maria, do you know this area is a high flood zone?
Correct. Yep. I'm definitely aware of that.
Lastly for Maria, he is a nice St. Anne former student. Awesome.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
C. Murfeld, the owner failed to maintain their public sidewalk easement and grass on their property for the entire summer until a week before this meeting. All right. So, it's just been about an hour since we officially began the recording of the meeting. We have plenty of time left for anybody who wants to speak. Thanks again, everybody, for joining us tonight. I think we've had a fairly productive conversation.
Excuse me. So Gabriel, are you Vieira@ziprun.com, or what's the way of contacting you?
I am Gabe at ziprun.com. Let me share my screen again so you can see it. Let me know if you guys can see it. It's just Gabe at ziprun.com.
Okay.
Awesome.
Okay.
And Maria, thank you, George, for letting us all talk. My pleasure.
You know what it is too, Gabe, just so you know, it's I think for like a lot of people in the neighborhood that haven't been able to express the concerns that we have about this neighborhood and the traffic and the trash and everything, at least from my experience, it is having not gotten any response from the people who've been here for a long time. The Planet Fitness and those guys down there, that's a real problem. And they've got a real problem with loiterers under that bridge, and we've tried to address it. So, I think this is still better than 40 condos that I thought they were going to put in, which would have made a horrible rat problem. But that is part of it, is that you're kind of the face of other things that are going on here that we don't want to get worse, but also that part over there, those people, I'm sitting right in front of Sozio's, like over there, that's been a real issue. And so I think because of that and getting no response, we're sort of doubling down on anybody coming in here. That's just my thought.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for those comments.
No, thank you. Thanks for being here. What's the next thing? What's the next process?
Yeah, the next step would be a BCB meeting that would be held. I don't know the exact date yet, but that would be the next topic I would present to them. Pretty much run them down the same presentation as I did today. And then at some point they vote upon that. I don't really have, I don't know how that process goes, but that's typically how it goes. And then after that point, you're scheduled a ZBA hearing. If granted a CBA approval, then you start the build out process. And then once your build out process is pretty much complete, you would receive a provisional license from the Cannabis Control Commission, and then you'd be granted a final license. With that being said, if we were to get through that entire process, don't expect us to be done by Christmas time. Don't expect us to be done by February. We probably will be done by March, April. So, with that being said, I hope I don't see a bunch of rats during that time. But
No, you know what a lot of it's from? People come in here or they're leaving, and I mean, we know Merlin and I, they just drop their trash here. That's what it's from. It's from people that are just coming here. I see them parked in front of my place. They leave, and there's a big thing of McDonald's bags there, and so that's what we're seeing. Yeah. So human nature, unfortunately.
Yep.
But okay, well, I'm sure that they'll keep us up to date on what's happening next.
Of course, anything I can honestly do to do my part, and the team to do their part, feel free to reach out. Yeah, if you want to get on the call, Denise, we can get on the call, and that goes for anybody else else, definitely can make the time. I am super busy, but definitely will make the time to speak with the people that we're impacting in the community. So with that
Super.
being said, thank you, everyone.
Thanks,
I'll,
Gabe. Take care. Thank you,
course.
George.
Thank you.
George, I have one more comment if I could jump in.
Yes.
The property, actually the entire area, including all of our houses and all the businesses, comes under the new climate resiliency waterfront areas zoning. Now, I know if you were building a new building, there are certain rules and things that you have to follow because of the flooding. I'm not sure if it's just opening a business, whether what would happen. You are changing the building, so you might come under that climate resiliency overlay district zoning. So I don't know if you've looked into that, but it might be something you want to look at.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you for bringing that up. Honestly, like I said, open anything, open to doing research on anything regarding the community and our business plan. So thank you for bringing that to my attention.
Thanks, Maria. All right, yeah, just a couple of things before we go. Thanks everybody for staying on with us tonight. Yeah, what Gabe described earlier was pretty accurate. So based on what I have here is I'm gonna have that meeting with BCB, Boston Cannabis Board, and they'll negotiate a host community agreement if approved, right? So once that agreement's executed, the city can schedule a zoning board of appeals ZBA date to hear the applicant's case, right? And then after the ZBA, if they do, if the ZBA approves the applicant's conditional use permit, they'll have to go through the state application with Cannabis Control Commission (CCC), and then finally they'll just register as a business with the city. But that's just the quick hitters, and yeah, so you can feel free to just reach out to me at any point, Gabe as well, to answer any specific questions you might have for him. My email is on the flyer, so is my office number right now. It's changing to the Dorchester number, so we'll be in touch about that. But yeah, thanks everybody for joining us tonight. This meeting will be posted online for everybody to see, as per regulations.
I have a question before you go.
Sure.
Okay, is the building gonna remain as it is, or are you gonna add additional space to the building? I mean, added up another story, or it's gonna remain the same?
It remains the same.
Okay.
No extensions being put on the building, not at all.
And will you put new fences? Because a couple of times I see people sleeping in the back of the building. And
Yeah.
last week there was like 3 young guys. It's just like I'm doing security for the building, and I did call the cops, and that didn't work out. Nobody show up.
It might have been me and 2 of my other co-founders. So if you see me, please don't call the cops. It's just me.
Well, I didn't know you then, so I called the cops.
I know you did.
Yeah.
I know you did. I know. I understand. But now that you do know me, I would appreciate that you don't. If you have any questions, if you see someone over there, it's more than likely me, especially during the daytime.
Wait, no, it was nighttime. It was dark, and there was 3 young men.
Oh yeah, so we were in the. I think that was the night we were kind of upstairs brainstorming on our business. So yeah, it was me, it was myself, Ellis, and Christian. So let me quickly share my screen just in case you ever see these 3 people again. It was me, Christian, and it was Ellis. These are tech guys. They typically, tech people, they tend to work from their homes. They don't come out. So if any time,
I recognize Christian, from the video.
Yep.
Alrighty.
Thank you.
Thanks, Marilyn.
I was just wondering, how do you get to the building? I know the fence was closed.
Yeah, so we have so we closed that one. So there's 2 fences. Actually, there's like 3 that border the building. two were closed, the back half, and then the first one to the front half, and then the one closest to the door at 1170 is open. So that's the way that we get in there.
Wow. Okay.
Right. I think we have one last. Thanks, Marlene. One last comment. Well, I'll take another call from Maria. Could you provide a drawing of what the building will look like to the Port Norfolk Civic Meeting?
The exterior, for sure. We have we got old drawings from the city of Boston a while back. As I said, we're not updating the outside of it. So, and then for the inside, that's security measures. So definitely something that's confidential. But if you're interested in seeing or hearing more about that or learning more about that, please feel free to reach out to the city of Boston Police Department to kind of speak upon the security measures that were taking place.
Wonderful. All right, so this has been the community outreach meeting. So it is the public meeting portion of that of the community process. Thanks, John, for pointing that out earlier. So I'm taking one last call for questions and comments before we adjourn. So gone once, going twice. All right. So thanks everybody for joining us. Thanks Gabe. Thanks Ellis. We'll end the meeting tonight, and everyone please have a great evening.
Thank you all.
Participating.
Take care, everyone. Take care.
Thank you.